Hello, guys. How is everybody doing this evening? All right. So, if you don't know me, I'm Kayla from Death Curse. I am your unofficial Slim Jim Queen and your half-ass editor here. I am taking over again for another interview segment. Tonight's guest is a man that I find fascinating due to the amount of intelligence about comics and this industry that he has. He has been working in this industry long enough to call him a vet, and he has worked many different aspects of the comic book realm. He is the creator of Magna the Last Pantheon, The Posse, Fugitives, Orphan Family, Black Tiger Legacy of Fury, and his newest book is entitled Black Tiger Hidden Dragon. You may also know him from the comic ship that streams on Monday with Ryan Winn. I present to you this evening, John Hervey.
Kayla, thanks for having me on.
It's so good that you're on here.
That was a very generous introduction. Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to have you on here because you have so much knowledge. I was saying this backstage. You have so much knowledge. Like you do your research and you've worked so many different aspects of this industry. You even owned a store.
I did. So it's funny. So in 1993, I was still in school, but I had a friend that owned a store in Chino, California, and I was going to school in LA, but I was able to open a shop in Pomona on a street called Gary. So I owned that shop actually for 2 years, and then my buddy who had his shop in Chino, it was a family. They actually bought me out. So that was actually, the timing actually worked out well. I mean, because the industry was still pretty strong at that time. But it was just, for me, it was just too much to juggle between being a retailer and, I'm hiring, cool kids to be in the shop, but it's like, I'm at school, I'm running over to the shop, I'm running down to pick up books on Wednesdays, because you actually had to run down to Orange County to pick up the books and then bring them to the shop. So it was fun, but it was insane, and then
distribution too was different then too. There was more than just Diamond then, as far as distributors go. There was more than just Diamond. People don't realize like the Diamond takeover was.
People think Diamond was just it, but Diamond wasn't the end all be all. I mean, I go down there to pick up books, but it's like you had other publishers that were publishing through different distributors. And I really think that, I think it was Diamond's, I don't want to use the word collusion, but Diamond and DC and Marvel really kind of pushed out all the other distributors. And that did a real disservice to the market, because then at that point, when they're controlling the channel, they basically, what do? You set up the game so you're going to win. So you've got the Diamond preview, the big Bible, the front of it is all Marvel and DC. And even as a retailer, by the time I got through all the Marvel and DC stuff, as much as I love comics, you have fatigue. You're like, I have gone through, golly, how many hundreds of pages of stuff just trying to figure out what Marvel and DC stuff. Okay, now what Image stuff are we going to get? What Dark Horse stuff we're going to get? By the time you get to the indies, you're just like, probably, not too much of anything. And I'm saying that as a retailer. I mean, I know that sometimes as a publisher, I complain, but as a retailer, I know what it's like. It's hard. It's a pain, know? And then most of the time, the indies, they either won't have, because the indies got to pay for it, they won't have the large ads. So you're literally looking at these little snippets on the page. And from that, trying to determine if you're going to order these indie books that maybe nobody knows about. I mean, the odds were absolutely, and this is the other thing that's crazy. It's like Marvel and DC didn't have to directly pay to be in the previews. But if you're an indie, you you paid big money to be in there. You had to get ad space if you wanted anybody to see your stuff. So it's like, it's kind of the reverse of what you thought. I mean, the indies were one that were funding the publishing of the book, but the indies were at the back of the book. So you're just kind of like, this is a backwards model, man.
It's insane that that's how it was. Actually, it's still, you know what though, with indies though, it has gotten better with Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Oh,
it's
big time.
gotten a lot better for everyone that's an indie creator. When people think of indies nowadays, they're thinking of more of small press, I find.
Yeah.
People like, okay, well, I got this. This is from Avatar, or this is from Boom, or, you know, and I'm like, these are small press.
Yeah, that's not indie to me either. People are like, oh, indie, you know, Image. That's not indie in my book. I mean, what we're doing, that's indie. You know, what Death Curse is doing, what, you know, Ryan Winn is doing, what we're doing, this is indie.
Oh, yes, definitely. And there's a big difference between the small press and the indie stuff. Like I said, small press gets more, I feel, a lot more attention than a lot of the indie stuff, because when you're indie, you're forced to do all your promotions, everything on your own.
That's
People
right.
don't realize that. You have to have the knowledge, because if you don't have this knowledge, you're going to go into a bad business deal with somebody. You have to be in charge of everything. So, I mean, luckily, you have a lot of knowledge.
A lot of it is hard knocks knowledge, you know?
Yeah, hard knocks. So,
you know?
when you first got started working in this industry, was it Motown Animations and Comics? You were, what was that like? Because so I know Motown for music, and I know that they did some animated things. I didn't know they put out comics or anything like that. So I need to know about this. I'm sure my audience wants to know about this.
So it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's like, you know, we met all the Motown guys. Like, I mean, I met Berry Gordy. I met, like, you know, these big Motown names. But we were literally, so in Los Angeles, there's an area called the Miracle Mile kind of district. And, you know, if you're going, so like oftentimes I would be coming from USC. So USC. Wow.
That's the other end, right?
So it's still in LA, so it's not too far, but it's also, it's like kind of where Exposition Park, where we're kind of like the 10, and so I guess it'd be kind of like the 10, but it's north of the, I guess around the 110 and 10, but like I'd have to come east. So usually I'd go up to the 10 freeway, and I would go east, exit La Brea. These are streets that people may know, and then go north. And then there's the, basically, it was in an office building. So this was a wild time. So, I mean, it's like, in this office building, I saw like the Power Rangers were big. I met like the original Power Rangers, you know, and like, I don't care. You can say the Power Rangers are as corny as you want to be. We were so stoked.
I loved them when I was a kid, definitely.
We were so stoked when we met the Power Rangers, like in our building. You know, because I forgot there were some other companies that were in the building as well, but Motown was in there. So majority of it was music. I met Boys to Men.
Oh, that's awesome.
There, and another Bad Creation.
Oh, that was Aisha. That was my jam when I was a kid. Jump rope to that, yeah.
And so they had the music group, and then Michael Davis, who's one of the founders of Milestone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So he put his big thing was Static Shock. That was like his big claim to fame. Him and Dennis Cowan.
I was going to mention. Did you meet him at all when you were?
Dennis Cowan came on board subsequently, so I worked for Dennis Cowan for a while, and he was amazing.
Yeah, he's very interesting. So smart. I have tremendous respect for him. He is a talented creator. Wow, you just blew my mind right now.
Yeah, Dennis Cowan is like a genius, and he's his artistic prowess is so high, because one of the books that I worked on, he ended up doing basically some of the kind of more of like the thumbnails. So he was kind of giving us, hey, let's lay it out like this. So he did layouts for some of the pages. And we sat there while he did the layouts. And the layouts were like 10 times better than when the artist and I, we would sit down and we would work all night trying to figure out what pages would look like. Man, Dennis looked at the script and was like, here, why don't you take this? And we were just like, oh. So, I mean, that dude was, Dennis was amazing. Michael Davis, Michael Davis, he's like family to me. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
you're going to fight with him. He's going to get on your nerves. I love that guy.
That's me and Spencer.
I love Michael Davis. I love him. Sometimes I want to choke him, but I know sometimes he wants to kick me downstairs. But it's just, but at the end of the day, he's the guy that gave me my first shot in comics. He's just a larger than life personality. So for me, I mean, he's a dude that introduced me to at Comic-Con. He introduced me to Neil Gaiman. Okay. I mean, Neil Gaiman was at the bar at the Marriott.
Yeah. And
Michael just rolls up on him and starts talking to him, so they know each other. And I'm just kind of sitting there like, he said something to me and I could barely respond. I'm just like, so I was just there. But it's just a fun time. But in terms of the comic book production cycle, that's where I learned. That's where I really learned how to make comics. I've always loved comics my whole life. And a buddy of mine who I knew from high school, he was working there, and he said, "Hey, Michael Davis basically needed a gopher," and he's like, "I've got a buddy who's absolute comic book geek, loves to write and all these kind of things." And Michael was a little bit skeptical, but he brought me on board, and I ended up having an opportunity to do some editing for him and some writing, but I did a whole bunch of gophering too. So it was like sometimes like when I would be gophering is when I would like see cool folks. I think I saw the Pink Ranger when I was like getting some coffee, and she was in the building. I was like, oh, this is like before cell phones. I couldn't couldn't get like a shot with her. She's she's absolutely totally used to people just like geeking out. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so cool.
What was your biggest lesson or biggest takeaway from starting there? Like, what was the biggest takeaway that you had? What is something that imprinted in your brain that, you use today with what you're doing? Like, there has to be something.
Yeah, there are actually a number of lessons. I mean, you don't
have to share all your secrets.
I won't share. But you know what? One of the things I love about this community is like we try to help each other. Mm-hmm. So I mean, in that regard, my boss was very much did not script the Marvel way. He did not script the Marvel way. He's like, listen, he's like, you have an obligation as a writer to set the foundation, to set the tone, to set some parameters that your artist can work with, and then once you've done that, then your artist can edit, make better the things you're trying to do. He's like, but it's lazy if you just kind of throw everything on the artist who already has to do all the artwork. And you're like, fill in all this, and because sometimes it can work really well, but sometimes it just becomes too much of a burden for the artist. The artist is like, I'm damn near writing this book. You know what I mean? This guy has just got all this high level stuff here and just like, hey, yeah, But so we were really of the school of we fully scripted. And we even sometimes overwrote. And his whole philosophy was like, listen, the more the artist knows what you're trying to do, the more you can get on board. Because either the artist is going to see this and be like, don't like where you're going with this, let's make some changes. Or, hey, I like where you're going, I see where we can make some changes. So it's more of the process of writing, at least when the writer is originally kind of conceptualizing, is you're not just telling a story, but you're also selling a story to the folks that are going to be producing the book, and giving an artist a reason to be like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy has a great conceit, a great idea, He's executing it well, and now he's giving me everything I need to just do something awesome. So like, you know, I guess the analogy is you're a writer and a director, and then the artist is a cinematographer. So the artist comes in and says like, you know what, I can execute this better. You know, after you guys kind of have come to the conclusion that, okay, we're on the same page, we like where this is going, we like what we have. So I think, I mean, that's not, you know, that's not gospel, but I mean, it's worked well for me in my career working with artists, because I think for anyone, you have more to work with if you have something that you can edit. And now you know, as a writer, you have to be okay to get edited. You know, I've had editors that were mean about it. I've had editors that were cool about it. But at the end of the day, writing is writing and rewriting and rewriting and editing and rewriting. That's what writing is. You know, so you have to be open to the fact that, okay, I'm going to put my heart into this. I'm going to put this down. And some of the things that you think are cool, they may not think are cool. You're like, that's actually my favorite part. So then like the great thing about it, the great thing about it is like, we didn't have kind of the overarching, I don't want to just say kind of bureaucracy, but we didn't have also like if you look at the big two, they have ideas of what they want to do already going years out. So someone says, hey, I'm going to hire Kayla, and Kayla, you're going to write this awesome story, you know, just because I love these characters. You're going to write this awesome story on Mr. Miracle and Big Barney. Oh, sweet. That's like a dream come true. I got all these ideas. Yeah, but we already have a path in which they're going to go. And then you're just like, okay, you just took all the fire out of my belly for this project because you're already telling me where you want them to go. You know, I'm not really writing this. I'm more of like, okay, let me try and fill in let me see how I'm going to make this work. You know, how am I going to make this interesting? I don't even like the direction that this is going. But my boss was really good. He was like, listen, he's like, because the first issue, so I wrote it and he edited it, but by the time we finished the series, he's like, you got it, run with it, you know, just don't get me censored or whatever, you know, just don't do anything like really stupid.
Yeah.
You know, but he loosened the reins and let us be creative. And I think that's when, whether you're working at a big company or you're working small press or you're working independent, and this is a lesson that I also got reiterated to me working on Black Tiger Legacy of Fury, because I was working with Rod, and that's a long story. It's 172 pages. And we're well into the story, and Rod says to me, dude, I'm getting burned out. And my boss told me something about that. It's like, if somebody's getting burned out, it's because they're not being challenged. They're not having fun on the project anymore. So I was just like, oh man, you know, what he's really saying is like, you're giving me too much of the same. I need to do something different. I need to do something that challenges me, you know? And I think once I realized what that meant, and then I learned that there, you know, it's like, you're burned out because you're not doing something that intrigues you. You're not doing something that interests you. And it wasn't like the story didn't intrigue, because Rod came on board because he loved the idea. But it's just like, we weren't being daring enough. We weren't, you know, it's so easy. And especially being a kid in LA, everybody's thinking multimedia. I mean, I think everybody's thinking you want to be able to go across media with your properties. So you want to be able to write a comic book, but you also want to make sure that it can translate into a TV show, and make sure it can translate into a movie, and translate into a video game. So you can write and think to yourself, well, if this were going to be translated into a TV show, what would the budget look like? Okay, well then let me. But that's the beauty of comics. You don't have comics. It doesn't matter. You can. I remember, and I'm jumping all over the place. But
no, you're fine. This is interesting.
The way I got introduced to comics was actually, I would go with my mom. There was a dress shop that my mom would go to, and they had magazines, but they also had comic books.
Spinner racks were everywhere. Spinner racks, right?
And what they did was, there was a drugstore across the street, so they just picked up some random comics and put them there. So that's how I got introduced, sitting in this, because like I already knew about, there's a Spider-Man cartoon, there's Super Friends, there are all these things. But then I was like, oh snap, there's these comic books. And I was reading this Fantastic Four comic book, and these folks went all over the place in the comic. They started the Baxter Building. They went into the negative zone. They went to Latveria. They did all this in one comic. You know, because like you can go wherever you have the volition to go, you can do anything. And I love that about the comic book. It wasn't like, well, you know, we better work with our budget. We're going to stay right here in the Baxter Building for this episode. And if we're going to go to Latveria, we better try to make it cheap, something we can film in the desert. You know?
Wherever your mind takes you. Yeah,
wherever your mind takes you. And I always love that about comics. And my boss reminded me of that. He's like, listen, I know we're working for Motown, and we know that Motown has, as a larger entity, they have other machinations about what they want to do with stuff. He's like, but our job is to make comics. So we have to understand what our industry does. We have to understand what our industry is about, and we have to act accordingly. You know, and this is at the time where, I mean, Image, the visuals that Image was bringing to the table. You know, I mean, just the stuff that they were willing to draw in books were blowing people's minds. You know, and we just said like, hey, you know, let's have fun. Let's do the stuff. And I think ultimately you got to do the stuff that you would want to pick up, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you know, it sounds like a no-brainer, but doesn't it feel like folks are doing stuff that like they wouldn't buy? It's like
I would not condone that. If I was writing a book right now, hypothetically, if I wouldn't buy it, I wouldn't want to write it. I would want to write something that I am passionate about.
Yeah.
You know, why? You know, there's a lot of people that want to conform to whatever the masses are, but that's why we're not getting as many great storylines anymore. Imagination is like gone out the window.
Yeah.
We're mixing reality with fantasy. I just want fantasy.
That's all I want.
All
I want is
that
fantasy.
stuff, right?
And I want what's coming out of people's minds. Like, like Kayla's telling a story. I want to read her story. You know, and you know, because people are like, I've even heard people say like, hey, that's not how I would have written it. Of course it isn't how you wouldn't have written it.
Well, obviously.
That's a no-brainer. That's not why you read a book. You don't read a book to say like, I would have done it that way. No, you read a book because you're intrigued. The characters get into it. How is she gonna write them out of this? How is she gonna get them? How is she gonna get these characters where they need to go? Not oh, that's not how I would have done it. That's neither editing nor being a fan. That's maybe fan fiction. Fan fiction is fine.
There's a lot of fan fiction nowadays, I want to say. And
fan fiction is cool, but it's like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if the story you're following is got a fun conceit, it's got kind of a good path, kind of that red thread that's going through the story is going somewhere, enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Go along
for the ride.
Yes, that's exactly, we need more of that. Like, people just need to free their minds completely, enjoy everything for what it is, get in it. That's how I like to be when I read a book, a comic. I like to get lost in it. I like to get lost in the world that's created. I like to feel connected to the characters in some way, shape, or form, or I even like to watch the events go down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's the beauty of it. You know, that's the beauty of comics.
Let's take a look at some of yours on your website, because you right now, I know we're promoting Black Tiger Hidden Dragon, but you have several different titles on your website. So let's share the screen here, and we'll pull that up, and we'll take a look through everything. And we're going to go to your Beyond Time website.
Yep. At beyondtimecomics.com. So it's right now everything that's there right now is digital. So there's 4 different series in different in different stages. There's actually all 6 issues of Magna have been published digitally.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing a little bit of remastering for the last 3 issues. That's going to be the 2nd volume of Magna. This is Black Tiger.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out where to start. I'm reloading this. here.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to go down to Magna first because you were talking about this. And
Okay.
so which one in particular? I'm gonna just
Totally.
pull one up here. This is issue 1 here because this is where you should start. So tell us about Magna the Last Pantheon. And I'm sorry I flubbed that earlier when I introed you because I didn't realize the volume was on my phone, so I could hear the Death Curse music when I was reading, like when I was trying to do your intro. So I got a little distracted. So sorry about that.
No,
But
that was all good.
yeah, let's go to this Magna the Last Pantheon here. Tell us about this here.
So this is a story that I thoroughly enjoy. This is a story of like we love like a character kind of finding her purpose in life, going from feeling an outcast to kind of realizing that she's different because she has a big destiny. And that's something that I think resonates with all of us because all of us feel outcast at times and all of us feel estranged from things at times, and you're just like, okay, am I just a weirdo? Am I just is this all for nothing? But she really gets the opportunity to learn who she is and then to exercise the power that she has, and it's power that she has been suppressing all of her life because her parents have called her to suppress it out of their own fear. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what resonates, people are like, oh, it's a superhero story, but it's just a story of somebody finding out who they are and being able to live who they are out to the fullest. And that's what we all want at the end of the day, whether we're folks, we're working a job and we're like, man, there's so much more for me than this. I got to figure out what it is. I think that's the human condition, is we're all trying to figure out, there's another level to me. How do I get there? How do I achieve that? And that's what really Magna the Last Pantheon is, but it's done in a fantastical way. As she learns who she is, she finds out that she's adopted, and this takes her on an awesome journey. And it mixes a whole bunch of things that I love. I mean, World War II history is something that I love. So we get to delve into World War II, what's going on in Finland during 1942. That's not something that's often talked about. What's going on. So we get to kind of delve into that and what's going on. Also, we find ourselves amongst pantheons, the pantheons of old, and they've kind of, the last remnants of these pantheons have come together for the sake of survival. And then all of a sudden she finds herself in the midst of this struggle for survival, and even a linchpin to the survival for this last pantheon. So her adventure is a fun one. It takes her literally all around the world and into another dimension. And that's, I think that's, I have to give Mike Davis a lot of credit, but also just, working with a lot of different friends that have aspired to and have written in comics, whether it's just in, writing groups that I've been a part of, just being willing to take these stories and to go all out, just to have fun with them.
I like the premises of this, and I think that everybody needs some kind of origin. It sounds like this is her origin story, in a way, basically. Everyone needs, how can I put it? The character development in this, I can tell, is very strong, in short.
Yeah.
It's very well developed. Let me.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to go. I wish there was an easier way for me to click through.
And if you scroll, if you just click on the preview, if you click on that preview button that's a little bit down there, scroll down just a touch, and there's the preview button. So you click that.
Oh, look at that.
So if you click, I think the box on, I think it's your bottom, your bottom right. Yeah. If you click on that one, it's not making it any bigger. It's not really making it much bigger, but then you can kind of.
This is issue 2, so I don't want to. Let me go back to issue 1. Hold on. All right, let me.
So still working on some of the nav for the site, some of the navigation for the reader, so we're still trying to kind of perfect that. But we have it set up right now where you can read it in full page mode or a dual page mode or panel by panel.
Really? Give me 1 second. I'm going to show it off. I'm just still figuring out how to navigate everything while streaming. So bear with me. All right. So this was the first one here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to click on this preview here.
Preview. And if you actually click on, if you click on, if you go down there, are you able to see those little icons again? If you take your mouse back down there, because this is full page mode. The icon to, I guess, the left of that one is, click on that one and go ahead and start clicking through the images. And I think that's the best way to kind of see what this mode does for you. So you're good. So go ahead and click on the arrow. So the full pagers, it treats you like that. So this is the inside cover. You can go on to the next page and it'll give you a full pager, but then the next image is, if you click one more time on the arrow. Oh, no, you're good. Yep.
Yeah, it's not getting any bigger for me. I think this was better here because it took away the bar.
Okay.
So that might be a little bit better, I think.
Okay. Try clicking that again. Does it go any further?
No, it's not. I think it's because I have other tabs open on the top, like StreamYard. That's probably what it is.
Gotcha.
To be honest with you.
So there is a panel mode. So where you can look at it panel by panel. So it'll show you the full page. There you go. And then it breaks it down into panels. So now you can read it panel by panel. And that's actually my favorite mode for kind of, reading on using the reader, because it gives you the full page and then you can go into, you can read it panel by panel.
This is awesome. I mean, that's really well set up.
No, I appreciate that.
This is great. This is great. And I love that basically everyone can see a preview of what everything is before they invest in it, because you want to make sure that it's a story that you're going to be into. I mean, this is something I'm totally into because I see stuff with Greek mythology in here.
Mm-hmm.
Strong female character, I can tell. We have even biblical stuff combined in here. This is awesome.
We weave it all together, Kayla.
This is everything. We weave it
all together.
A lot of mythology and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of mythology, just a lot, all kind of interwoven. And, this is something that as we've created, so all of these books are all in the same universe. So it's laying a foundation for Magna, but this is also laying a foundation for the whole universe
that you're creating.
That we're creating. So what you read in these first 6 issues, or this, I guess the first 2 volumes of Magna, is an introduction to her, but it gives you a big introduction to the universe. And that's what I've been trying to do with Black Tiger. It's like you're learning about Black Tiger, but you're also getting an introduction to the world. So all these things are kind of congruent. They're additive to each other. So you're learning more about the world as you learn about kind of what happened with the Pantheons here. And you get a flavor in Black Tiger just for kind of what happened in ancient China. So all these different elements, just having fun, but just trying to make sure that we keep the world congruent.
I'm big on world building. See, when I write, I do things backwards. I build the world first, and I've been told, don't do that. That's horrible. But if I personally, for me, I like a well-built world, because then you can drop all different characters into it to fit different parts of your world or your universe. Obviously, you have to have an idea of who your main character is going to be, but I'm huge on world building. Personally, I think it's because I am big into science fiction and fantasy. So, and the cornerstones with that are, you have to have a well-built world. Yeah,
exactly.
Can't say it enough.
No, I love it. And I'm also a big fantasy and sci-fi buff. I was the kid. It's funny, when I first started growing up, my mom got me comics because she's like, I'm glad he'll read something. Then it's like I keep reading comics, but then I start adding sci-fi books. So at the time I was reading, Isaac Asimov books. I was reading Piers Anthony, and I was reading all these different, so it's like my mom's like, oh, he's studying. I wasn't studying. I was reading sci-fi books or,
It's reading.
It's like he was reading. How come he's not? I was reading, but I wasn't reading, the other stuff. But you realize that as you read, different media, you realize the value of world building. So even for me, I started like a little series just about, because some folks had asked me about writing comics. So I started like a little series on my YouTube channel just about, ways that people can create. And I actually did, my first episode was just kind of an overview, but my third episode was on world building, because I do world building earlier in the process. Now it's all kind of intermingled, but I start the world building early too. It's like, because to me that has an impact as you're building out your characters.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
so I mean, I don't think there's any, and I always try to be careful, even doing like a YouTube on that. I'm not a master of that. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think there's any one wrong way. I think you just want to make sure you're being congruent. I do some, I like to do some top down kind of world building, but I also like to do some bottom up. I do a little bit of both. So it's like, I kind of do some of my top down stuff. Like here I talk about, hey, this is how kind of mythology and theology work in this world. But then I go into cities and I kind of go from the bottom up. And it's like, so this is what's kind of going on in this city. And I guess the telltale is if I can make the bottom and the top merge in a way that makes sense.
You have a lot of action that goes on in your books from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. Well,
you have a lot of action. I love it. I'm big into action. I'm big into seeing like a good fight go down. I'm big into people with swords. So, I mean, you have a lot of great stuff.
I think one of the things just in the storytelling process, and like I said, I script and maybe I overscript, but at the end of the day, when the story's being told, the artist is telling a good portion of the story. And then the words are kind of telling the stuff that the art doesn't tell. But you want your comics to be kinetic. You want your comics to move. There are things that I need to say that you have to read. But you want to have that kinetic energy in your book. I mean, it's a comic, it's a visual medium. So you really want to feel like, man, this book is going somewhere. This thing is moving. And I want to be a part of where this is going. So I feel, especially for those that are creating books, your first issue, the beginning of your first issues, you got to be going somewhere. You need to be taking people on an adventure. And then you can start to, if you need to, you can start really, kind of reeling it back and giving a little bit more background or revealing those things as you go. But it's challenging because the periodicity of our books. Like if you're doing a book every month, then you can afford to have books that are, I won't say that they're throwaways. That's not the right word, but that are just, slower, kind of more talking heads. Because I know that next month I'm going to get another issue and I'll be able to move this thing forward.
Yeah,
but if I'm picking up a crowdfunded book and the next version of this book, I may not get this for a year or maybe more, you got to give me something to hang my hat on. You got to give the people what they want in the book. I mean, it's like, you got to move the story forward, but it's like, you got to let us see those characters. You got to let us enjoy what these characters are about.
What about this one here? So this looks like this was one of your earlier works with Beyond Time when you started Beyond Time. It looks like, right?
I love The Posse is a story that if I were gonna, how like in Hollywood they like to say, it's this with a touch of this. So if I were gonna say what this is a combination of, I would say like this is Heroes for Hire meets Boys in the Hood, in a supernatural metahuman world.
Oh,
So
That's awesome.
there's a lot of different elements in this story, but it definitely has that kind of heroes for hire element. It definitely has kind of the element of, and the thing is, this is all tied together. So I mean, there are things that are referenced here that will play back to what's going on in Black Tiger and the metahumans that are in their city, and
Okay.
so basically the posse. So Black Tiger happens on the west. Los Santos is a western seaboard city, kind of like a LA mixed San Francisco. This story, the posse and the orphans, both happen on the East Coast. And I have a city that's kind of like New York, but it's called the Decapolis because there's 10 boroughs. So
that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, so there's 10 boroughs.
Name.
So in the Decapolis, this story takes place. These stories take place in 2 of those 10 boroughs. So this is kind of the world building, kind of building from a little bit from the ground up and kind of exposing what's going on in a couple of those boroughs. And, you know, these guys, a little hero for hire style, you know, they find themselves in a privatized prison, and there's experimentations going on in those prisons. And that's tied into the whole thing going on in Beyond Time and in Black Tiger. And these guys end up, there's a whole slew of convicts that end up with power, and they break out. And then 2 of these guys, you know, they decide, like, you know what, we actually need to stand up for our city. So their city's on fire with these superpowered, you know, bad guys. And then you have these 2 dudes that were hoods that decide, like, you know what, we got to take our city back. And then they get some other folks that come alongside them, some characters that I really love a lot, that I want to spoil, but I want people to read it. I'm not going to spoil them. But
don't spoil it.
I won't spoil them. But
what they can do is they can get a copy of this, since this is all going to be intertwined into everything that you're doing. Just saying, everyone.
Just saying.
Right on beyondtime.com.
Right on beyondtime.com. And I was actually talking with KAYLA and Spencer backstage, and one of the things that I've been considering is doing for the next campaign, releasing, making a dual campaign for both the posse and for orphans, because both of those happen in the Decapolis around relatively the same time. So probably and the first half of each story arc is completed. So there's 3 issues of each already completed. So they're ready for a graphic novel. So probably considering that.
I say do it.
Nice.
What can go wrong? What can possibly go wrong? I mean, I would be, if I could get both of the things that I want to read at the same time and not have to wait for a gap in between or have to pay separate shipping. So, you know, I think doing the duo campaign is a really good idea. And I think that might end up paving the way for other people to do something similar. They'll learn from what you did. So
appreciate that. Very cool.
So this is the Orphan Family here.
Yeah. So this is the Orphans
family.
Yeah. So the Orphans is,
like
you know, kind of a almost
fun.
Yeah. So this is, I'd say it's like kind of a hood version of, you know, the Gotchaman Kids and some, you know, and some other elements. So, I mean, I love Gotchaman. I love the idea of having, you know, these orphans that are just a hodgepodge of kids from the streets of the Decapolis. And this wasn't for the purpose of inclusion. I did this long before all this other nonsense started. I write stuff that I want to see. So there is, the team consists of these 2. She's Puerto Rican, he's Black. They're in the same foster home. So and then there's the one creature that looks like he's a mixture. He's Panther Boy. And then there's another girl, a girl from the street who's called Plucky, and she's the blonde girl that you saw on the cover. And they make up, you know, they're kind of this unlikely crew that come together, and they make up the Orphans. And then you really get to take a fun ride with them, see how see how they survive kind of in the streets, and then how it is they become heroes. And that's I have a lot of I'm just excited to get these two stories into people's hands. It's very different.
I need to know now. Okay, you need to do it. You need to do a duo release because I need to know, especially if this project is I want to know how everything's all connected.
Yeah.
So my mind's running back to they're on the same coast with. Let me see.
So they're on the same coast. They're on the same coast with the posse.
With the posse. Mm-hmm. All right. So now I want to know: do they end up meeting up? What's going to go on with that? Because
they will eventually.
That's where my mind goes. You know. Mm-hmm. Now we'll take a look. I think we did a good. All right, we're going to start getting into some Black Tiger action.
Nice.
And when I say action, I mean there's a lot of action in this book. So
there is.
This was the first. So Black Tiger is a series. I think a lot of people looked at your campaign and just thought because it was Hidden Dragon Volume 1 that that was the first book. So this was actually, am I correct? This is the first Black Tiger book here?
You're correct. This is the first. And our first campaign, we collected all 6 of these into this 172-page graphic novel.
I was going to ask you if this was Greg Horn. And then, and then I just scrolled down and I see Greg Horn's name.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
He's a sweetheart. He's a great dude.
So Rod Looper, you've been working with him for quite a while now.
So the first two artists I worked with independently.
Yep.
Because when we decided to do Black Tiger, she wasn't even my fiance at the time. She was my girlfriend at the time. My wife now of 16 years. So that lets you know that we've been doing this for a long time.
I saw she must have edited some of your work.
She edits all of my work because I have punctuation isn't always my strongest suit, and homonyms are my mortal enemy. If there's a homonym, I'm gonna get it wrong. So whatever I did, it's wrong. You know.
So you know how us women are.
I know.
Yeah. We'll find something wrong with anything, you know.
But you know
we're great at fixing it. We're great at fixing it, though.
That's the key. That's what you need. That's what you need. Because, like, from her perspective, she's like, oh, you know, she's like, I don't know what value I can add. I'm like, you can add a ton of value because at the end of the day, lettering is key in a book. And if people find punctuation errors or spelling errors, it takes you right out of you're just like, okay, is this guy an idiot? You know, can I, you know, it's like, oh, you know, so she's meticulous in that regard. And that's, you know, something that I need because sometimes I can be all over the place, as you can tell.
She's a lot nicer than me. I'm literally like, I'll literally tell Spencer will come to me with something. I'll be like, nope, that sucks. Or no, I really like that.
She'll be like,
because I do a little editing for Death Curse.
Yes.
So, but I get called a mini gym shooter because according to the people that I work Comic Cons with, I make grown men cry over their artwork. So she's a lot nicer than I am. I love him. I love him. That's a story for another time off stream. So I want to go back to this off stream. I'll tell you, I met him recently. We'll get into that another time. Okay. Yeah, he's amazing. I love him. So this first series, A Black Tiger, if you just brief people, I want people to read it. And I know that on your Indiegogo, you do have like a duo. Like you can get the first one and you can get this newest one. But just to brief people really quickly on this first volume of the legacy of Fury.
So
sorry, I hope I'm wording that correctly.
No, you're wording it perfectly. You're wording it perfectly. I'm trying to remember whose show I went on. They called it Legacy of Furry. I was like, that's a different. I was like, that's a different. That's a different demographic. That's a different demographic. We're not doing the furries, but We are doing the Fury.
Fury, yes.
Yeah. So, this
her
story,
origin.
this story is, it's really kind of a pivot point, because this is a Black Tiger, and he's been Black Tiger for decades.
Okay.
And what ends up happening is there's a change in the guard, and his son becomes the Black Tiger, but his son knew about the Black Tiger, but he's rebellious. So he grew up as part of a triad. So his son acquires the Black Tiger power, and he starts going down a very dark road with the power. Meantime, his sister, who knows nothing about the legacy in her family, starts to unravel things and starts to learn things. And she has another relative who was a Black Tiger before, and a grandfather who was institutionalized. So she puts the pieces together. She ends up actually being the recipient of some of the power as well. And then she has to either try to reason with or stop this mad quest that her brother is on. It's a mad and misguided quest that her brother is on to try and quote unquote avenge their father, but really trying to become a crime lord in the city. So this is really a story. This is a hero story as well. It's a story of the changing of guard. And it's a story of Jin Fong really becoming what we think, because we don't know all the history, but at least in recent history, the first female Black Tiger.
All right. I'm loving this.
And Greg, man, he's awesome.
Hey, how did you get Greg Horn to? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
you've worked a lot in this industry, so I'm sure you've met. Well, you've went over that. You've met quite a few people, and I was just surprised. I know it's fantasy artwork.
So when I reached out to him, I kind of told him the concept, and he was on board. At the end of the day, people are professionals, so you got to pay people. Yeah. So he didn't give me, like, at the time he was doing Marvel stuff, and Marvel wasn't making people exclusive like they started doing. So he's like, I said, hey, take your time with the covers. So basically the first piece of art that I really had in my hand was that issue 1 cover. And he did all of this stuff. This was what was so cool. And this is why I loved working with him. I gave him the scripts. He read the scripts. And he told me, like, listen, he's like, a lot of times when I do covers, I don't know what's going to go on in the book. So I'll do it pinup style, right? But he read all the scripts. So every cover is something, it's either a poignant moment within that issue, or it is an image that it doesn't exactly happen like that, but it's reflective of the main motif of that issue. So he was awesome. Like that second cover, the blue one, the reveal. I mean, in that issue, Jin discovers the legacy in her family, but he totally created that himself. And I was just like, oh man, that's so cool.
So it's interesting that you are saying all this, because basically what this comes down to is something that you were talking about earlier. It's about getting involved, enjoying the story for what it is, and also just like getting in that mind space of the world that's being created and fantasy elements and everything in general. So basically what I love about what you're telling me is basically he took his perception of an event and created the covers off of that. And that's amazing. I'm at a loss for words because I haven't heard of many people doing anything like that. So I just want to show off these covers real quick before.
It's set a very high bar. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? Because like he's the first cover artist I ever worked with. Like not when I wasn't working with another company, like for my own project. And when you have somebody that puts in that kind of time, I realized that, you know what? Any of us that are going to work with any artist, we need to do our part as creators and as writers, but that's what we should expect. We should expect this level of love on the part of the artist that is providing you with the image that's going to be on your cover. So in certain regards, I think that's made me, I want to make sure that it doesn't have to be exactly what I visualize, but I got to make sure that it's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm the first one to push back. And Greg knows we went back and forth on some of these things a number of times before we got to where we were both satisfied. And that's part, even if you're hiring somebody that is a name, that's still what you have to do as an editor, as a creator, for your own IP.
And you're paying them too. So, it's nothing is really free in this world, but you're also paying the artist too. So you have to make sure there is a compromise, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And doing it in a way that's respectful, of course, at the end of the day. I mean, it's like, I've had editors, and I've had editors that are nice, and I've had editors that have no bedside manner at all. In fact, you're like, is your point just to try and destroy people? And, none of us want to be that gal or guy. We want to work with people. We want to have an enjoyable environment. I mean, it's comics. We all love comics. So we want to be in an environment that we enjoy and, have fun, but at the same time, make sure that we're getting the best out of each other.
I agree with you. So everyone, this is where you can get all of the digital copies of this.
That's right.
On this website here.
That's right.
Someone drop that into the chat for me because I can't. Producer Spencer, drop it into the YouTube chat.
You're up, Spence.
So, and then you have other things on this website too. So you started this in 2002, I believe I read someplace, or I heard you say on something.
Exactly. So we started the company in 2002, and it's gone through a lot of different iterations. The first time we were published through Diamond, and we kind of spoke about that a little bit. And then we didn't really have an avenue at that time. And that's why this is such a great time. I'm telling anybody that's got an idea that wants to, this is your time to make a comic book, because we had material, but we had no real viable way of getting into people's hands. The internet was starting to proliferate more. So we started off by just kind of having the pages up so people could kind of scroll through the site. Then we developed our first iteration of the web reader. And we've done a number of different iterations of it. This is probably version 4, and there's still a lot more work to be done on it. But, so we've had the web reader up for, it's going to be a decade. So the content's there. This content is there for those that get it. And we just try to keep making the experience better. And then one of the reasons why we did that, because I know people are like, is it all about the, piracy? And actually, it was more about having a platform.
A platform, yeah. Having the platform makes such a big difference. It definitely. Think about all of these people even doing like their little TikToks, becoming off of a TikTok. It's all about just having the proper platform, and you're able to. With Indiegogo, what I love about Indiegogo is what people don't realize about stores. When a comic company, and I say this all the time because I worked for 11 years in a comic book shop, people say, oh, well, comic sales are good. Mm-hmm. When you say comic sales, and you had a shop, so you would know, they aren't talking about the individual patrons' sales in the store. They're talking about what the company bought from them. Yes. That does not reflect on the individual sales in the store.
Nope.
So a company, for instance, one of the stores I was working at, he had to order 500 copies of a book to get a certain variant that he knew that the variant would sell better than the main cover. Right. So he had to order 500. Now, guess how many, so he ends up getting like 750 books. All right. Something around that. Ends up selling 25 books, so where did all those books go? To the back issue bins. Now, the companies will say, we're making a ton of money right now, but they don't understand how, from a store perspective, it works. With Indiegogo, I really like it because it shows how many backers you have. It shows what you're generating. It shows what you're working with. I feel it's more honest for your patrons, your
Yeah.
customers,
And those
you
are kind
know?
of those are the dirty tricks, honestly, because one of the things that I found when we were going through Diamond is there were stores, like the numbers we moved weren't big, but there were stores that wanted to reorder, but the reorders weren't worth Diamond's time.
Oh,
So they're just like, we don't want to, so I found out from my local comic shop and a couple other comic shops in LA that they actually did try to reorder my book, but it never came. And I was like, Diamond told me there were no reorders.
they have a lot of odd policies. I mean, I don't want to start ragging on Diamond or I'll be taken away from your because now we're going to get into Black Tiger Hidden Dragon, and I'm so excited. I backed this book. This was my birthday present to myself. I had wanted to back it for a while, but I had to get a new car, so I'm like limited on backing books nowadays.
Yeah, you got
But this, I give me 1 second. Let me share the screen. As soon as I saw this trailer and everything, just the different perspectives that how the artist drew everything, the storyline. I like action. I like a good fight scene.
Yeah.
And then there was a dragon, and I'm always like, okay, there's a fight, there's a dragon. What is going on here? I'm all about this. I love martial arts, so I'm excited to
Yeah, I think.
And congratulations too for hitting your goal.
Oh, thank you. One of the things, the book, all the books that I've been putting into campaigns have been pre-produced. So at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, if people are willing to back it, I can get you the books. It may not generate enough money for me to make more, but so that's why the campaign goal was so low. I was like, I've already paid.
Give me 1 second. I have to stop my cam because you have a video that I want to play, and then I'll turn back on afterwards.
That's another thing I don't understand about StreamYard. Who decided that the default is no sound? Who wants to play a video with no sound?
I know. You know what it is? My internet's really slow right now. So every time I go to anything with the video, I'll start freezing up, or you'll start freezing up. And I just want to put the focus on the campaign anyways. No one's here to see me. We're here to see the book. We're here to listen to you talk. So let's do this, right?
Let's do it.
All right, let's watch it on YouTube, I'm guessing. Is that going to give me full size here?
That's a good question. The captain doesn't let me do the stuff in the back, because anything I do all the wrong stuff. So whatever I say, don't do that.
Here, I'm going to restart it. Are you ready?
Ready.
Are we sharing screen?
I can see it.
All right, perfect.
Okay. So if you're playing it on YouTube, you're sharing the IGG screen and not the YouTube screen.
That makes sense. Hold on. My side, of course, not without technical error, right? My side here is telling me, hold on. All right, so I'm going to have to go in and share this screen then. Hold on.
Okay, no, all good. And I mean, while you do that, I mean, just in terms of inspiration for Black Tiger, of course, comic books.
Here we go.
That's the first medium that I love, but I'm a big Hong Kong martial arts fan. So, a lot of martial arts action, superhero stuff, and here we go.
Now we're ready.
Here we go.
I know. Bear with me, guys. I'm not perfect. I'm still working out the kinks with all of this stuff here online.
Okay. No audio, though.
Oh, jeez.
I'm telling you,
All
the
right.
default no audio is absurd to me. I'm like, yeah, let's
Play here.
you know, that's crazy to me. They're like somebody, whoever's there streaming, I was like, yeah, we'll make a default with no audio because that's what people want to do. They want to play videos with no audio.
Let's share audio too. That's what's even more. I'm gonna put it on Indiegogo. Spencer's telling me put it on Indiegogo. So I'm gonna do there, and then I'm going to play it from here. And I think it's working now.
Woo, yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that trailer. I love the music too.
Thank you. That's my buddy Scott Thrill. He's the one that made the beats for that, and I'm actually getting him to make beats for the next campaign, which will be the Posse.
Just go on me. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. So if anyone needs beats, it's at Scott_Thrill on Twitter. It's a good dude.
All right, so this picks up where the Black Tiger Legacy of Fury takes off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it does.
I just want to say Rod Looper did an amazing job with the artwork on this. This was something that caught my eye, as well as the storyline itself. Like I said, I like a good fight. Everyone on Death Curse knows that I like a lot of any different kind of fight styles. And
Nice.
You said something on the comic strip about basically martial arts being like a dance. And it's true. There is a beauty to this kind of butt-kicking action.
Yes.
So, and I agree with you completely. This is gorgeous here. So
this is, of course, the pencils are by Rod, and the painting is by an artist that goes by Artisita. And I wanted this art. He has this amazing artistic ability, so I wanted to at least have one cover with that kind of a painted artistic style. So I was really amazed at how it came out.
The cover I backed that cover.
You're gonna be happy.
I had to. It was just gorgeous. I love this one too. And what I really liked in your trailer is that, you know, the perception of everything is done so well. I mean, you could turn this at 360 every different way. It would still convey an amazing shot, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through this, and then we'll go through your perks, because you're in demand now, right? You're still running your whole campaign.
Oh, it's still live.
It's still live?
It's still live. I don't know how many days left. I think it goes.
Let me take a look and see.
Yeah.
Let me go back up to the top.
See how many days left.
All right. No, you have 23 days
23
left.
days.
I thought you were in demand for some reason. Yeah, you already hit your goal. That's awesome.
Yes.
So, but that doesn't mean that people still shouldn't back. People still should see this book and still should grab this book, and they should go online and grab some of your digital issues.
Yes, ma'am. I agree.
So this book here, it's 88 pages, and it's done in the graphic novel style.
That's right. So for those of you that picked up Magna, it's the same style, you know, same size. And then, of course, you can also get the Pick Me Up, the Catch Me Up book, which is 172 pages.
We'll get to that. Yeah. We will definitely get to that. I want everyone to see everything that your campaign offers. So let's go into this here. So Yeah,
So now,
but
now
right
you're getting
here.
into some of the martial arts.
Oh yes, and I'm all about this. And I remember you said this was based on I'm going to butcher the fighting style. Capo, you gotta say it.
Capoeira, you got it.
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
I was like, I'm gonna butcher it because my Massachusetts accent. I butcher. There's too many R's in that for me.
Your
So
Massachusetts accent is pretty. You know,
it's tame tonight.
you've tamed it. Yeah.
Tonight. It's tame.
Yeah.
Because I have to be my professional self here with my interviews. You know, I have fun too.
Yeah.
But on Death Curse, it definitely comes out. Yes.
It's not like you're
This
getting
is,
chowder.
oh yeah. It gets bad.
I love it.
This is beautiful. I love all of this. You know what too? You don't have a lot of writing. The action speaks for itself on this page in particular.
Well, that's
unless you added more to it.
So there will be some more writing. So right here, I really wanted to show the action
Artwork.
and the flow.
Okay.
But there is some writing. But you know what? You're right, because the scripting was pretty heavy, but so much of it is translated in the art.
Yes.
You know, that there isn't a need for that, and there's definitely nobody talking during a fight. So
no.
this is just people getting whooped. She's just whooping people here, and she's in the jungles of Brazil. She's trying to get answers about the murder of her father, and just a fun, awesome sequence where you get to really kind of show off, her amazing martial arts ability, as she's, fighting these Aborigines, and then here she battles against actually the master of capoeira.
And we got a superhero landing over here, I see.
That's because she's badass.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. And then she realizes that he is very formidable. She's used to kicking people in the teeth, and he's smirking and ducking it. And she's like, hey, that doesn't happen. You kind of look at her face like, hey, what's going on here? I'm not happy with that.
I love this page right here.
And you can kind of see a little bit of her frustration. And this guy's, kind of smirking a little bit because she hasn't seen a style like this before. So that's part of the fun. I mean, growing up watching the old Hong Kong movies, it would always be like different schools of Kung Fu against each other. Kung Fu versus karate. Kung Fu versus, the Westerner or the British guy, the pugilist that comes in. And, you always had fun with all those, different kind of mix-up and mashups. And here she's back in the city.
Different outfit changes, too. You
know what?
I love that.
Black Tiger has a lot of different outfits. And the whole rationale behind it was like, because even my wife was like, what woman is going to wear the same thing? Even if she's a superhero, she's not going to roll out in the same thing every time.
They always, a lot of people stick to the one outfit, limited kind of look. I mean, I grew up, I loved Bulma from Dragon Ball Z. Because not that she was a hero other than she was super intelligent, but she had all these different fashion changes. And I loved about her as a woman. That's my one thing I personally like to look at, see that there's costume changes.
Yeah. And those characters up there, they're the ones jumping in through the warehouse, Nightlight, they're the 5 fingers of death. Yeah. So they're 5 of the deadliest people from around the world. So you have an African wrestler, you have a Filipino stick fighter, you have a shinobi, you have a British pugilist, and you have a character called the Touch of Death. Uses the 36 chambers. And then but the folks they're jumping in they're not patsies. Those are ex-KGB bionic Russians called the Organizatsiya. So there's a lot of powerful gangs in this city.
Okay.
And
I really love everything that your artist conveys. I want to say your words beautifully. I mean, this is gorgeous to look at. And like I said, this is something I love everything going outside of the panel. I like all of it. I like the different perspectives that he used to convey your story. This is amazing. Yeah, this is a great shot too.
This is kind of my Jackie Chan-ish kind of homage here. So it's like she's in her civvies, but there's an assassin that's going after this guy, and she uses a stapler to deflect the knife, and then he's in a roller chair, so she's kind of rolling him back and forth, kicking his chair out the way, kind of evading. So a little homage to Jackie Chan there.
I wish I could do that. That's something I totally wish I could do in real life.
I know.
Then we have a big dragon here.
Yep.
So, I'm all about dragons here. Don't go to the mall.
Don't go to the mall. This is one of the things that when you're working with an artist and, being able to take an idea and then take it to the next level, that's what Rod did here. He was just like, man, I want to make this so much more dynamic. So he knew what was going to go on in the story, but just the way the dragon manifests, and you can almost see the point of origin of the manifestation, the way he drew it. And it's crazy because there's people on the dragon, there's tables, there's a dude still in a chair. The dragon literally manifested from under folks, and you can see that.
Of everything. These are impeccable. And I love all of this too. Again, he's really good at different depth perceptions and everything. I could turn this. This is another page. You can turn any way, I feel like. And you can see everyone in the background, their different reactions. And I love that. I would be the crazy person trying to jump on the dragon and tame it. I don't see anyone like that. These people, it's an accident, but I would literally be like, no, I need to tame this dragon, and probably
here we go.
Die. I'd get eaten or something, But that, this is amazing. Look at this person here. They're like, what the hell? I'm like, what is happening? People are in shock.
The crazy thing is when I first wrote out this page, it wasn't a splash because I wanted to convey this dragon manifesting from below, and he did it in a splash page. Everything I was trying to convey, he did it in that one image, and I was just like, okay, that's amazing.
And this art here was done by, this is a different, completely different artist.
Valerio Giangiordano.
Okay. This is gorgeous too, going for that painted look again.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I'm a big fan of the painted look as well. This is all of the artwork is really well done within this book, I must say. It definitely adds to your storyline because this story is amazing. This is a badass story. This is my kind of book, lots of action. I love everything about this book. Plus, it's a tale of revenge, and I'm all about revenge. And she's truly finding herself too, it seems. So, and I love that, I like a strong female character that's feminine looking and that is attractive and kicks butt. Me personally, I know there are other people in the world as well. And that's why they should back this book.
There you go.
Plus, the universe that you're building, I'm curious to see how she's going to tie into everything for your universe. And I know that's a story for another time. I'll have to have you come back on here for sure. And when this is out, because I want people to get a chance to read it, and I will definitely spoil it. So you have a combination here, which is the Legacy of Fury.
So you can get the first book. So we'll be reprinting this with using one of the Greg Horn covers for the cover, and you get to see how Rod has grown as an artist from first to second, which is one thing that I enjoy. But you also get to see that he did an amazing job in the first issue as well, in really bringing the story to life.
I love this black silhouettes here. I love. I'm a big fan of this.
He's a master. He's a master at sequential art and being able to tell a story and really being able to give you that visceral feel. And sometimes less is more.
Yes.
And the way he did that was because, even though it's just silhouetted, it's so brutal. You're like, oh my goodness.
I love all this too. This is given some background, I feel like, into her life here. That's a very touching scene. I feel like that's something very touching.
So here you get to see, this is her brother and her dad.
So it's a brother there?
So part of the rub in this story is that her brother knew about this, and it's kind of been through the male line, and she didn't know anything about this. So her brother was actually getting trained. So
she wasn't being trained.
Exactly. So on the left side, you see the brother watching the dad do stuff, and on the right side, you see him years later, and he now has the power. Some of the stuff, like the stuff at the top, he's able to do, but then some of the more supernatural stuff, like on the bottom right, he's not able to replicate what his father did.
Yeah.
So, you kind of see him trying to develop, but you also see a lot of his shortcomings. And then what ends up happening is she's got to find her way and become her own Black Tiger, because she wasn't given a roadmap like her brother was given.
Seems like the brother may have a case of ego to me.
Big time.
And that might be what is his blockage. Whereas she doesn't really, she's going off on a whim, like she's going through her heart, it seems.
And she has to, because she doesn't have these other she doesn't have these other things that her brother had. So part of it is, kind of following her heart, and she has these different premonitions that you're kind of seeing here, but she has to put all these things together for herself.
I think.
And then brother versus
really
sister.
Deep. It's this is really deep. Then could you kill your brother if you had to? Is it, are you going to be faced with that choice, or how are you going to uphold your family legacy as well? There are so many questions I have, but like I said, I know I ask questions that lead into spoilers. All right. And you have your metal bookmark here. So let's
Phoenix Animation put this amazing metal bookmark together. So you'll get a metal bookmark, which I have mine. I've been using it because I love it. It doesn't
show it off for the camera. Do you have it with you?
I've got it. I have it over there in a book. So I'd have to go grab it.
That's okay.
All right, hold on a quick second.
That is okay. I'm going to make sure that my computer doesn't go to update, which my device needs to restart. Not right now. Schedule the restart. Yeah, I think not today.
All right, let me not lose my place in my book. But this, I'm so ghetto. I still have it in the plastic.
Hopefully that goes. I think wants to restart in 9:34. All right, let me go back to.
See if I can.
Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Really good quality.
I'm so happy with this. I'm so excited about this. Metal bookmark doesn't bend, doesn't break unless you do something really egregious to it.
You can use it as a weapon too.
You really can.
We can use it as a weapon. It goes along with the whole martial arts theme of your book. You can throw it.
That's right.
Someone, yeah. Aim for the jugular.
Right here. So got the metal bookmark
too. That is a really good size bookmark too. That's perfect for like a graphic novel size.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a hefty bookmark, and if you get the Catch Me Up, you're gonna have 260 pages of Black Tiger, so you'll have good use for the bookmark.
Yes, which everyone should get the Catch Me Up, definitely. All right, so we have your T-shirts here. I need to get to your actual campaign stuff in general. We're scrolling down. These T-shirts are awesome here, and I love that they each have the little symbols too.
Yes,
that's
great. They have the symbols and then the company logo on the other sleeve, and it's like there's a tiger and a dragon and a tiger versus dragon. And I really love the symbolism, because that's like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla looking kind of script. It's like, it's really cool. So I'm really happy with how Shay designed these shirts.
Shay designed them for you?
Oh yeah, I had no ability to do that. It would have been a bad thing if I had done that. You got to know what your wheelhouse is.
A wraparound.
Woohoo! So it is now a wraparound. So the Rod Looper cover, you're going to see from the front. You see her and she's fearsomely looking forward with the dragon that's manifested behind her. But when you look at the back cover, you're going to see why she's so fearsomely looking forward as the 5 fingers of death drop down in front of her. So she's got the dragon behind her and the 5 fingers of death in front of her.
I love this. So let's see here. So I know your campaign goal was only $500.
That's right. That's right. And the rationale was the book was already produced.
Okay.
So the intention was to get it into people's hands. So the hope always is that people will, gravitate to it. But I said, no matter what, I'm going to get the book into the hands of the people that want the book. So a little bit of a risky play. If only 10 people like the book, they're going to get the book.
I love that you have this here too about the shipping. All right, this is very important. I actually work for UPS. So I actually like to see this. A lot of people don't always say this, and a lot of people don't always send you a tracking number.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, with your product. I think this is really important because you're letting everyone know. And I can tell you this much too. This information here that you put, we are not responsible for missing parcels after 3 months from the day they are sent out, because the tracking information expires.
It's no longer available.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So you do have to file the complaint with your UPS, USPS, or FedEx provider. That's how you have to do it. And then they have to issue a replacement to you, usually, or they'll have to contact you and rework something out. Which that might be a little bit of hassle for you on your end. But usually UPS is pretty good. It's USPS that stresses me out, to be honest with you.
And then these are elements I think we're all learning.
Yes.
It's like, we want to be fair, but we also want to make sure that we're doing things that make sense. And I've had some folks that have come back. Hey, I never got my Black Tiger Legacy of Fury. And, I was like, man, we shipped that out 5 months ago.
Oh, and you know what? Everyone's using this hashtag as well whenever you retweet this out or anything that John tweets. Hashtag Nerdtastic.
Nerdtastic.
All right, so give me 1 second because every campaign page is different. So, and see, just like you said, everything is a learning process.
Yes.
This is my learning process while streaming. I really should be doing a practice streaming, but I'm learning while I go with it.
Oh, what are you talking about? I am your practice stream.
No. Just that the computer stuff is every stream is like a practice stream with me working the computer stuff. It's something
have you ever watched? You watched the comic ship. Tell me one time we haven't had something.
I feel like it always runs really well. And even if so, Ryan covers up everything.
We just play it off.
Good. I know. I could never tell. All right. So let's see. Is this going to bring up all your perks if I click on the side here? See, I am a person, like, if this was my phone right now, would totally be fine.
Yeah.
I would totally be fine. So, all right, let's start with your featured perk here.
Okay, cool.
Can I make this big? All right, looks like I can do this here.
Yes.
So this is the super looper commission.
That's right. So you get of course, a copy of Hidden Dragon with any cover you choose. You get a bookmark, one of these awesome Phoenix Animation bookmarks, but then you also get a commission, an 8x10 full body pencil and ink commission of any character of your choosing. So
that's
Black
awesome.
Tiger character, but if it's like another character, like if you have a creator-owned character that you'd like to see Rod do a rendition of, go for it. If you have another character that you love, he'll do that. You can provide references, like for instance, if it's a creator-owned character.
That's a really good price too. Even at the
Pencil and
245
ink.
that it was at, it was a really good price. I want to say.
Yeah,
for
pencil
that.
and ink, full body.
I know. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you get the copy of the book and the bookmark as well. So
We have your digital.
So there's the digital. You guys, we got to play with the reader. Kayla and I got to play with the reader with you guys a little bit earlier, so you'd have access to the book, all 88 pages on the digital reader.
It's making me go to payout here, so
All
I
right,
guess
I'm
I
doing that
have
too.
to stay on this. I've already bought my coffee. So
Prints of each of the 3 covers.
your cover
So
prints
the
here.
Looper print is just the front one.
Yep. So that was the one with the dragon. Yeah, that's Viera here.
Yep.
I like this perspective a lot too. Like I said, this can be turned every which way.
Exactly.
I actually could see this. I know. I actually could see this being a movie. I could see this being a movie.
It's a lot of kung fu, a lot of fighting.
But you know what? We need a really good
stuff.
kung fu movie. I mean, the last kung fu movie that I watched that I love, not necessarily kung fu, was like there was a lot of martial arts in it. It was jiu-jitsu, believe it or not, even though the guys rag on me for it. I loved it. I know it was like super corny, but the fight scenes in it were awesome. All right. I love Tony Jaa. So I mean, he just kicks butt. And then Frank Grillo and just I forget his name, Elaine. He took over for why am I drawing a blank tonight? Kickboxer, Van Damme. He took over for Van Damme in Kickboxer. He was like the main character, but I loved it. I know they were like, Spencer was like, I can't even get through this movie. It's bad. I'm like, watch it for the fight scene. Watch it for the fight scene.
Enjoy the martial arts.
Yes. I'm going to butcher Gian Giordano.
You did it, Gian Giordano.
I did. That's a very, I think, Italian last name.
It is.
Whew.
It is.
But
and, another really nice dude. You know.
How big are these prints? Like 8 by 10? What are they? 10 by 12?
I want to say that the prints they are 11 by 17.
11 by 17. Oh, so it's a really nice size.
So it's a good size print. Yeah.
You can frame them. We have loopers here. Then we have your paperback covers here. So for each of the 3 that you're offering as prints, you also have your graphic novels.
That's right.
That's the cover you choose. So that's awesome because it's basically like you're choosing your own cover, how you're going to go and jump into this story.
That's right.
So I love that.
So you got 3 different covers to choose from. You can't go wrong.
No, you can't.
With any of these covers.
No, they're all great. It was really hard for me to pick. I was torn between what cover to get, but ultimately I was like, I'm gonna get the Looper cover. There is a dragon on it. I love the coloring on it. They're all great. I was really torn. I was torn because this one, it's painted and it's gorgeous. And this one up here, I love this action shot. I like the perspective of, like I said, it can be turned every which way.
It's just like, in that kick right to the face, you're just like, oh my goodness. And it's like a complete split kick. You're just like, that's awesome. I would kill myself if I tried to do anything even close to that.
This, I was like, I had to go with this with the Looper one.
Oh man.
I had to.
This cover, so I mean, it's like, when I first put it up there, so the one thing I didn't have completed when this was done was the colors for this because we wanted to hit the campaign goal first. So when we hit the campaign goal, first we had the pencils up there. They looked amazing.
Well, I saw the pencils. That's what sold me. I would have bought it. I would have gotten it just straight pencils, even just ink. So the color is an even more beautiful addition to it because it conveys so much more with the color. But his art is so good that he doesn't even need color. The color is an addition to it. It's a bonus.
I agree. He definitely wants to do some black and white editions. We may do something like that in the future.
You could definitely do that, like a black, white, and like red for blood. That would be
There you go.
Something to the extent, Then we have the digital Catch Me Up issues here.
So you get Legacy of Fury and Hidden Dragon. So that's 260 pages of comic, which will keep you busy for a minute.
I feel like Larry Harrison at Harrison's Comics and Collectibles has your books and ordered them from Diamond. I'm gonna go into the back issues and find them.
Does he have the old school? Because we published the first 4 issues.
So this cover, before I even looked at your website, I was like, this is something I've seen at I've sorted tons of stuff in that basement. I'm telling you, I'm gonna go and find it. I'll find it, and I'll send you a picture.
Go find it. I'll even pick up some of those old ones.
Yeah, if I find them, I'll let you know. Definitely. But I'm very familiar with this cover.
Yeah.
So I believe it's at the store. Sorry, I got off topic.
That's pretty cool. No, but I love that. That's pretty cool.
The more I look at it, the more it's like imprinted in my brain. I'm like, I've seen this, or it could possibly be that my father might even have a copy when we sorted through his over. We organized he had over 5,000 books. We organized all of them. So he might even have this because he's big into the martial arts and all the ninja stuff and all of it. So I'll find out. I'll either look at his CLZ or it's definitely at Harrison's.
I remember. So one year we did Dragon Con.
Oh, Dragon Con.
That was in Glendale, California at the time.
Now it's down in I want to say it's down south. I think is it Atlanta? I'm trying to think of where it is.
Yeah.
I want to say that's where it is now. Unfortunately, you know what? I have a love-hate thing with cosplay in this industry, but that con has turned into a complete cosplay con now. Dragon Con.
That's
I have a love-hate with it.
I do too, because at the time when I did it, it was just a comic book convention. So, but you know what was cool? It was a comic book, but it was also kind of like martial artsy pop culture. So what was really cool, my booth was the table we had. On one side of us was this karate school.
Okay.
And they had like all kinds of weapons and they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff over there. And then on the other side of me was, why am I blanking on his name? It was the dude from the 1980 Flash Gordon movie.
Oh God, why can't I think of his? And I met him too at, I think it was one of the Terrificon or one of the cons he was at. Was it not Wesley Ship? Is it Wesley Ship I'm thinking? No.
No. Okay.
This will come to me at some point.
Solid, really nice dude. It was really funny because he was a lot bigger than I expected him to be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in especially in like movies, you see dudes and you're like, man, that dude is small. I'm not big, but I'm 6 feet tall. So I'm not tall, but I'm tall enough. But this dude, he was big. I was just like, man, Flash Gordon is tall, dude.
Oh, Flash Gordon. Oh my God. I literally, this is going to drive me crazy because he was at Terrificon. And I have pictures with him. He pulled in a car too. It was awesome. Why can't I think of his name?
Sam Jones.
Sam Jones. Thank you. Yes. And then he was in Ted too. And he actually signed, he's such a nice guy and he is a huge guy. I could pull up a picture on my, I'll post it actually later on Twitter. And I'm 5'5". So, people think I'm tall for a woman, believe it or not. But him, me next to him, he's a huge guy. He's way bigger than I thought too when I met him in person. But he's a nice guy too. He signs for charity for me. So, but you were next to him at the con at the Dragon Con.
It was so cool. And I enjoyed that Flash Gordon movie back in the day. I know it was campy and fun, but it was fun.
Did he say death to Ming? Did he go over to the people with the martial arts weapons? That would have been great. You have your T-shirts here.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry,
So the
I'm getting
T-shirts. So if you're
distracted, right?
domestic, there's no shipping cost with the shirts. It's just the $40, and we'll cover the shipping. So
What's the material made out of? What kind of material did you print it on?
oh man, I'm gonna get it wrong.
Sorry.
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. I should know the answer to that.
I'm just trying to figure out for anyone that might have allergies with or texture sensitivities.
Yeah, I should know the answer to that. I apologize. I do not.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to it. It will come to you. I mean, I really love the style that they're done in. I love basically like having your logo on one side. I love having the symbol on the other side. That's awesome. And then the Hidden Dragon logos on the back there. So
yes,
that's
exactly.
great. Yeah, Shay did a really good job. You chose all the right people to help bring this to life for you. You made very smart business decisions.
You know what? When you can't do, you got to get people that can do stuff. And I think that's that a lot of. I think that's like kind of collectively. That's kind of what Beyond Time is. There's a few things that I can do, but I've been really blessed with working with people that have great ability and a great love for what they do. Because for me, honestly, merch is something that I stay away from because I know that like I'm just kind of like you know, you got to do that right, and I don't think I'm the guy to do that. But there's so many talented people around.
There is an honesty about that though, because there are so many people that will either go in and try to do it on their own and come up with something that is not a quality product that actually makes their campaign look goofy, but also too, you're very business smart. So, I mean, I think everything worked out for you. And plus the main focus, I think with you, because you are a true lover of comic books, it's that you want your main focus on the book. Other people want their focus more on merch. What they're trying to do is develop more things related to merch and all of that. You are more focused on your story. And I think that is very respectable.
I appreciate that. You know, it's like, you know, for me, when I've been fortunate, I've been able to back a lot of projects. You know, it's like, and different people I know will get moved by different things. I know for some folks, there may be some merch that will move them. For me, it's always just the books. Yeah. So like anything else that comes with it is gravy, but I want the books.
That's me. Everything else is a bonus incentive, definitely. You know, but everyone's campaign is different, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think in your case, you're very book focused, and I love that about you because it's the comic books that we're all invested into. That is our commonality here on the stream, on Twitter with the people that we follow. And, you know, it's just very well thought of. Your storyline is amazing. Like I said, I could see this, like, I know you're just the books, but I could definitely see this being made into a movie. So yes, this here for this triple tiger on the side here. Sorry, I just
that was the
this is the Catch Me Up tiger here. This is the one that everyone I think should be backing. Is the Catch Me Up tiger. This is probably my and 36 people claim this. I think this is the smartest choice to back here.
Agreed.
I mean, yes, there's a digital version, but I'm a person, I need to have the hard copies. I have to have the hard copies in my hand.
So I got the hard copies.
Oh, it came out.
I like it.
But I have to have a physical copy in my hand.
Nice.
It's just not the same.
That's
you know,
it's
not the same. I can look at it on the screen and everything, but it doesn't give me the same feeling as holding it in my hand. This is my top choice for everyone that hasn't backed this book. Back this one because you're going to get both volumes. So that way, you know, could you read this on its own though, is a question that I have for you.
Yeah,
could
so
you
it's written,
enjoy the arc on its own?
Yep. So it's written so like it's a good jumping on point. So Legacy of Fury is a completed story arc. Yeah. And then this is the beginning. This is the first half of another story arc. So you could hop on board here and you'd be like, okay, I'm picking up and I can read it and I don't feel like I'm completely lost. But the thing is, if you have Legacy of Fury, you're going to see all the things that have been, you're going to realize things are getting paid off that have been set up in Legacy of Fury, as opposed to, oh, okay, that's an interesting event. But like, no, this is an event that these are things that were already, the groundwork was already laid for these things, you know, and you're starting to see a little bit of the payoff, or you're starting to see some of the consequences of some of the things that were laid out in Legacy of Fury. So, you know, the book has its red thread that runs through, but it has like kind of the A, B, C, and D plot lines that are kind of laid out there, and kind of the main plot line, kind of the through thread for Hidden Dragon was a subplot line in Legacy of Fury.
Okay, so it kind of ties it in together for you. And plus, you get to see how the characters develop. That's really important too. I am a big fan of watching the characters grow through different events and seeing how it all works out. And you're obviously going to do another book with these characters afterwards, I'm guessing.
So the second 88-page volume of Hidden Dragon, it's about 10 pages from completion.
Yep.
By Rod. So by the time this campaign is completed and we run the next campaign, that will be ready. And honestly, I still need to run the second volume of Magna.
You can do it. You can do it all. You can do it all. It'll be good though, because you have your stuff lined up and ready to go back to back to back, which is great for someone that's a reader like me.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I love to read. And when I start reading something really good, I want the next one immediately.
Yeah.
And it gives people too insight into your different writing styles too, because every book is written differently.
Right.
So you're not just doing one particular character. You know, you're more three-dimensional than rather like a two-dimensional writer, where there are writers that just stick to writing one particular thing all the time, even under different title names. You're writing many different titles with many different characters. And I feel that there is someone that anyone can relate to, because you have such vastly different characters.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they all tie in together.
No, and I appreciate you saying that. You know, it's like I've heard different people say things and things that are ridiculous. You know, it's like, oh, well, how can you write that? You know, how can you write this character given your background? I'm like, look, I can't write a book full of just black dudes. Like no women, no people of any other ethnicity. That's an absurd concept. You know, we're all human beings. We have interactions with each other. We educate ourselves. We know people. We have commonalities. We have, a lot of these stories, they have just, the through line is really just something that is common to humans. It's like feeling awkward and trying to find your way. That's common to humanity. Trying to find your place is common to humanity. These are things that all of us can relate to, and it doesn't matter really where you're coming from. And the other elements, it's important to do your homework, and I'm pretty diligent about that. I don't want to, just look like, somebody told me that I was appropriating, I think Finnish. Somebody told me I was appropriating Finnish culture.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, man, I'm not appropriating Finnish culture, man. I'm trying to show some appreciation and taking some things that I like and write something that I think is fun.
So confused nowadays. They have it so confused. It's infuriating. I mean, for me personally, I grew up in a Hispanic and Black neighborhood, so that was the culture that I was around. My friends' families, they taught me Spanish. My friends' families taught me how to cook things. I learned so much. And never once, ever. I mean, I don't know why it's a thing nowadays, but when I was growing up in the early 90s, like in the mid 90s, 2000s, because I'm 32. So, but none of this was ever a thing. It was
Yeah.
never, it was
No.
never a thing. It was
No.
always, oh, that's awesome. You can be like a super spy because you can understand this, and you understand some Creole, and you can
Yeah.
speak Spanish. So it was never anything disrespectful or someone was appropriating someone's culture. It was the environment that I was around. And I
Yeah.
mean, and you were doing martial arts when you were younger, didn't you say that? Or,
Oh
like,
yeah.
and it's just crazy because it shouldn't be. If that's the case, then I'm going to have to write an Armenian Irish character. There were no Armenian characters, and I don't want to be stuck to that.
Yeah.
I think that everyone needs to expand their minds and think outside of the box. And there is no such thing as appropriation of culture. That's insane. I can't believe someone even said that to you.
And the funny
it's,
thing
it's
is, people that
insane.
say things like this, these aren't people that are even trying to buy your book anyway. So it's like, I just kind of shined it on, because like people get on Twitter and then they want to, get stuff going. I don't know. They probably hopped on somebody's stream or like, oh, this is the guy that wrote that book. How can this guy write that book? And I'm just like, if we're going to be that ignorant, just let it go. Let it slide.
It's, and they'll miss out on a very well written book that's beautifully drawn. So, you know what? I feel bad for them because their closed mindedness prevents them from enjoying life. You know, it, I would never take any of that to heart. I know
Yeah.
you're smart enough not
No,
to, but
because
it is ridiculous to be faced with that.
yeah, and my whole thing is we're all united in comics. That's what we all love,
Yes, exactly.
and I'm not concerned. All I want to do is see people that are telling stories from their heart that they love, that they're passionate about, and telling those stories with vigor and letting it be a fun ride. That's what I'm picking up comics for.
Exactly.
I've never cared about, so what? That person has these views or that view. I'm like, just make a good comic. That's what I'm in it for.
That's it. Exactly. I just want to read a good book. I could care less what this person likes, doesn't like. There were even some people like that I think that are completely asinine, but I still read their work because you know why? They do a damn good job with their books.
Yeah.
But you have to separate it. And nowadays people don't want to do that.
They don't want to. John Byrne is one of my
I
favorite
love
all-time artists. And it was
John
like
Byrne.
he would say things that were crazy. But you know what? I didn't care. I still to this day I don't care. I don't care.
No, I love John Byrne too.
Don't
I
care.
mean, everyone that knows me knows that I'm big into Jean Grey. And John Byrne and Chris Claremont created some of the most amazing X-Men storylines ever.
Yeah.
And, people say a lot of nasty things about Chris Claremont too. They say a lot of nasty things about John Byrne. I mean, I'm a big Jim Shooter person and people say nasty things
I'm
about
a big fan of Jim Shooter.
I love him because he tells it like it is. So but either way, people aren't looking at what work is being done. They're like, oh, well, this person said this, so we're not gonna buy their book now, or their book is bad because I think that they're a bad person. No, read it. Read it and keep all that stuff out of it because enjoy the creative work for what it is. Enjoy the story. Escape from reality.
Exactly.
That's what this all is.
It's escapism, people. We want to,
yes.
let us enjoy the stories. Just enjoy, the creativity. Enjoy the love that's invested in the stories, and just realize what it is. I mean, for me, I love this medium, and why would I want to do, anything that detracts from that love? I was talking. I think I was talking with Ryan, and I'm, kind of the way the ship came together is kind of organic. It's just like, hey, great dude, love what he's doing. We have mutual respect for each other. We just want to be about positivity and just about, the good stuff that's going on, and a little bit of nostalgia. That's kind of what Booty from Beyond really is just like, these are things that I think are cool, and just enjoying ourselves. That's it. I mean, that's the best of the comic book culture, to me, is
I
when
agree
we're
with
just
you.
enjoying the comics, enjoying the creativity.
I agree with you. Speaking of creativity, so this is your, so we have the Triple Tiger. I'm guessing are these the prints or 3 of the books? What's the Triple Tiger real quick?
Okay, so the Triple Tiger is all 3 of the books.
Okay, just with different covers. I dig it. That's awesome, because then you can keep the cover that you want.
My daughter's trying to see the screen, so she's trying to see what's going on there.
Yeah. Does she enjoy reading your stuff?
Not as much as I would like her to.
It will happen.
It'll happen. It's like, for kids, they have the video games and everything. It's a different culture, but I really feel like there is a road,
Oh, there definitely is.
Just to getting the kids, engaged and involved and enjoying reading, and using comics to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like me, I ran a Pokemon League. The kids would play. At first, they were collecting the cards. I taught them how to play the game. Then they started playing the video game system, Pokemon, that, I grew up with it. There's a lot of reading in that game. Then what happened? They had to go and get involved in the manga.
Yes.
So I'm saying there's a lot of things that are interconnected, and kids are lucky these days that they have so many different things that are interconnected for pop culture stuff and comic books, or even their manga stuff. More than I ever did, more than you ever did, I'm sure.
Oh man. That wasn't even like a thought back when I was a kid.
So, she'll find something that she gets into, whether it's a game, whether it's a TV show, and there will be something, that adds on to it. So
you're right. And that's where the love develops. And I also, like we talked about earlier, I forgot that's how I got into it, watching the old Super Friends and old Spider-Man cartoons, and then realizing, hey, they have comic books for this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I got into it because my dad was a comic book reader and a collector. He was big into Wolverine stuff and, a lot of Silver Surfer. I grew up, that's how I ended up growing up reading all the Chris Claremont stuff.
That's so cool.
So I'm blessed, and we have Full Dragon that no one's backed yet. And this has everything in it. So someone should be backing this.
So the Full Dragon is everything. So bookmark everything Hidden Dragon related. So if you scroll down, then there's the Full Tiger, and the Tiger has everything.
This is the largest part here.
Yeah, that one's everything. Legacy of Fury, this is everything Legacy of Fury and Hidden Dragon related.
That's a really good price too. You're getting everything.
Yeah, so you're getting all 3 versions of the of Hidden Dragon. You're getting the full 172-page Legacy of Fury. You're getting physicals and digitals. You're getting the bookmark. So it's a pretty good, when I kind of priced it out, it was a pretty good deal. And also I can do the shipping much cheaper, when everything is, kind of together. Yeah, no,
definitely. I can tell you that is a fact. And then we have some original pages here.
That's right.
We have them discounted. I mean, $200 for an original page is a very good price.
Yeah. And these pages are spectacular.
Oh, it won't. It's an 11 by 17 too. So he's doing work on full size.
Yeah.
So that's, the whole scanning in process and the whole production stuff, it really fascinates me too as well. To see something go from that large of a scale, be able to retain all its detail and everything when it's made into a more compact size. It says a lot.
It's pretty amazing.
Someone buy these original pages. You guys are crazy. This is a great one too. I wish I could make this bigger somehow, but it just takes me to go to sale.
Just takes you to sale. Oh, boo. But yeah, that's one of the Five Fingers of Death versus the Organizatia.
This one I love
pages.
here.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. He does a very good job with the women's face. He does a good dragon too.
Oh,
I'm very picky. I'm very picky with dragons.
Yeah.
I'm extremely picky.
He does an amazing job with the dragons.
Oh, look at this, all the detail that's in it. The glass. That's great. Again, we have this action
guy dropping through the vent, guys jumping in through the window.
And then we have the Ultimate Tiger, which has this
also
looks like it has a commission. Oh wow.
Yeah. So you get everything, all the books, bookmarks, all the perks, but you also get a commission. Pencil and ink. The 11 by I think it's 8 by 10. Is that right?
Someone get the Ultimate Tiger and have him commission you into this universe. I mean, that's what I would do. I would be like, I want to be drawn like I was a character in this book.
There you go.
This, and then you sold this one too. That is a good action sequence.
Yeah.
I see why this one went first.
Yeah, so that one sold, and I'm just, I don't know, I feel really fortunate working with Rod because his art just speaks volumes.
Well, it's your words as well too. You guys work together very well. He has a great understanding of what it is that you're trying to deliver to everyone with this story, I think. And it's both of you. You're very humble in the aspect, like, my artist, and yes, he's 50%. I say it's 50-50 because you gave him great material to draw.
Yeah.
It's both of you guys. It's the artist and the writer. You guys have to coexist together, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
In this book, I think the writing and the artwork is equal. It's up to par with each other, and that's why I backed it. I love a great storyline, and I love damn good artwork that goes with it too. So you had 124 backers.
Yeah.
So,
man, thanks everybody that's backed. It's a big deal.
And you can still back now, guys. There's 23 days left.
Yeah.
There is 23 days left in this campaign. So don't let this book pass you by. You do not want to be one of the people that has to borrow this copy from one of your friends and say, damn, I should have gotten this book.
Don't be that Galler guy.
It happens.
It does. It does. So you can't get your own copy.
I'm back since my thing's not going to lag now.
Kayla's back.
I am back. Sorry, I just don't like to, my thing is so slow. When I go on the Indiegogo campaigns or play a video, my internet, I don't know why. Something I got to get looked into. But all in all, I think I am very interested in this world that you're building. I am so interested in everything that you have going on with this book and the other books that you're talking about doing the Indiegogo campaigns with. So this is just amazing,
Thank you.
I love this. This definitely, if someone, contact someone at Netflix, make this, we need a good show. We need a good show. This would make it an amazing show. I want both. I want to continue to read it and I want to watch it too. So I don't know, maybe because you have some background in animation, correct? Or,
that's right.
Maybe, hey, maybe, do a little animated thing with the comics.
Who knows? one of the things that I did put together, that Rod and I put together on another artist about a year and a half ago, is we did a 10-minute Magna animatic.
Oh.
So instead of like 30 cells a second, it's maybe 2. But 2 cells a second. So if you can go on to our YouTube channel and you can find it. I think it says like Magna teaser, but it's like 10 minutes. And it is voiceovered. has Foley and music, and it was just a little animatic that we put together for Magna. Just
If you want, I can show it here to close off the evening.
go for it.
Up to
That'd be
you.
awesome. Well, go
Let
for
me
it. That'd be
pull it
awesome.
up.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. So
you have to go to the YouTube is Beyond Time INC. So yeah, we've played around with different things. We've done that, and we have also people can check out a 20-minute live action Black Tiger short that we made back in 2014 that stars Robin Shue, who's the original Liu Kang.
Oh, I love him.
And Angela Fong, who used to be a WWE diva. So, we've kind of dipped our toes into different things, just kind of see what would this look like potentially live action? What would this look
Beyond
like as an
Time
animation?
all together? Is it all
Yep.
together?
Yes, all together. Beyond Time INC.
Here we go. I'm subbed to you now.
Awesomeness.
All right, I see it here. It's 9 minutes and 52 seconds. Is that
Yes,
it?
ma'am. That's it.
All right, give me 1 second to screen share.
All right. And
share. So we're going to close.
The captain is saying
I know.
shortage.
I'm learning, Ryan. So we're going to close out the night with this Magna animatic here.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great show.
Oh, this has been awesome. I mean, it's amazing. You do so many shows, and then we touched on so many things I've never spoken about on shows. I never talked about my retail experience.
That's what I hope to go for. I truly hope to go for something a little bit. Oops, give me 1 second. Stop. I got to share audio. He just literally told me share audio.
It's just sitting there, just as a reminder.
A little square at the bottom. Okay, so I should be sharing audio. Chrome tab. All right. Do we hear audio?
There we go. You can hear it.
All right.
You ever dream that you're something more than you're living? That there's a greater calling on your life that's beckoning you? My name is Kari Skogsholm. Just a few minutes ago, I was a normal farm girl. Most farm girls aren't strong enough to pick up a tractor, but I lived a life as close to normal as possible. Until this, I always dreamed. I knew there was more to my story. I just didn't know it would go like this. But we'll come back to this. First, let's revisit last evening. Where have you been, Jesse James?
I had to close the restaurant tonight.
Again?
I shouldn't have come this late. I'll come back tomorrow. This is the book, right?
You got it.
I checked it out from the library before going to the restaurant.
Thanks. How was your day?
The usual. School, helping out at the restaurant, and I can't forget getting picked on by Clancy and Mel.
Those two are jerks.
You'd think they'd at least be able to get their racial slurs correct by now. How many times do I have to tell them I'm Filipino, not Chinese?
I want to throw both of them to the moon.
I think you can do it too.
Which is exactly why my dad won't let me attend school.
That's too bad. It would be nice to have a friend at school. I wish I was homeschooled, but my parents are at the restaurant all day, every day, and I can't talk to animals either.
While not a requirement for homeschooling, I do have great conversations with the horses and those mischievous deer. But it would be nice not to have to wait until after supper to see my best friend.
I'm glad I inched out the animals as your best friend.
Barely.
Thanks. Okay. It's kind of late, and I don't want to upset your parents.
Don't worry, my dad's a teddy bear. Seriously, all bargain, no bite.
Isn't that a dog?
Well, I'll growl, but no bite. Or maiming.
That makes me feel a lot better. And your mom?
She probably already knows you're here.
Would you two like a snack?
No thank you, Mama.
Wait, how does she know?
She just knows.
Whew.
Read the first chapter of Old Mythologies to me.
Does this have to do with the dreams you've been having lately? Why you don't want to talk about them?
I'm still trying to make sense of them. Please read.
Chapter 1. Norse Mythology. In the beginning, there were only native forests and wastelands. Okay. Where was I? The Aesirs, one main group of Norse gods, realized they couldn't cohabitate with the humans. They named the humans' home Midgard because it's in the middle of the 9 worlds? I didn't know that. Did you know that? That was quick. Whoa, whoa. Can you sleep any harder? I better go. About, I wonder what you're dreaming about.
Good night, Jessie Jane.
Good night, Mrs. Cogsholm. How does she do that?
Who you talking to, Eva?
No one, Elskling.
Over 4,000 years ago, the sky between Earth and the first heaven was torn apart by an epic war, ravaging the skies in separate but related battles. Battles for survival. Crashing the mountaintops of Greece. With fire and hail devastating Egypt. China's atmosphere changing like never before. And the skies above Finland raging. Beyond the veil of destructive weather lies a world whose judgment is at hand.
Patience, my lord. The final assault is imminent.
Patience? Hemdollar, we have kept the Jotun out of our glorious city.
Yes, but the price has been high. We are nearly all that's left.
So, does the big guy's departure put an end to Ragnarok? Or at least delay it?
Ula, does your mouth ever stop?
We all have our gifts. I have wit, and you, Forseti, have... Well, I'm not quite sure what you have.
Well, I'll show you what I have.
Why so serious?
Any destruction. Surrender.
Orgelmir with a fire demon. How?
To end you. And all of the Aesir.
That was great. Hold on, John, you're muted.
Yeah,
Unmute yourself. There you go.
a
That was
little
great.
low budget production there, but you know, got some friends to help me with the voicing, a little bit of music, and there you go.
All right. So, does anyone that has hung around have any questions for John before we end this night, which has been great? This has been a great interview, a great stream. It's always a pleasure having someone on that has so much knowledge and so much passion behind what they're producing.
I
Let's
appreciate
see.
you having me on.
Oh, I'm appreciative that you came on here. So let's see. I know someone had a question about a guitar earlier. Let me see if I can go up and find the comment,
Okay.
and then we can answer that unless someone else has a different question. So let's see. Okay. Blasphemy Industries had a question for you. Why did you switch from Dean guitars to Washburn guitars? The public demands an answer. That was way up there. I had to scroll all the way up to find it. So
Was that
Blasphemy,
question for me?
that
or
is
was,
a question for
or was
you.
Blasphemy talking to somebody else?
It says question for Beyond Time. Why did you switch from Dean guitars to Washburn guitars? The public demands an answer.
You are talking to somebody that is excessively ignorant. And I'm not a guitar player, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm too ignorant.
Looks like Brian's pulling your leg.
I think he is pulling my leg. See, he's
the
man. He's the man on the street.
Oh, so he's trolling. I should have known.
He's the man on the street. He's just messing with us.
We'll have to clip this up for him.
Return to the street, man on the street.
I'm just going up to the comments. Spencer, he's like the one comment she picks. There's a lot of interaction on this. I'm trying to think of even where to even go. So that was the first question I saw because it said question first.
Right.
I can't dig through questions all the time, but if anyone is here and has a question, you have a couple more minutes. So we'll wait 1 minute. But other than that, I think it's been great having you on, John.
Oh,
I
thank you so much.
appreciate it so much. So
And I
thank
know
you so
you've
much.
you've got a wealth of knowledge around the industry as well. So it's always fun. I mean, you have retail experience as well as
A
kind
lot.
of on experience on
Oh yeah.
on the production side as well. So it's interesting seeing the industry from different points of view.
Oh yeah, I'm learning and learning more every day. I mean, but
Yeah.
I have Spencer for all of that and the other guys I'm around. So I'm lucky with my Death Curse crew. I'm very, very lucky. I'm blessed. And you know what that's like to be around people that are encouraging and motivating and supportive, and
Yeah.
they teach you things as you go on. So
Exactly. And I think that, I mean, that's the beauty of comics. It's just like the process of making comics. I mean, for folks that have the talent, they can do all different levels of production. But with the Beyond Time books, it's really about, being additive, so you've got a script, but then you have to have the penciler and the inker and the colorist and the letterer, and everybody's got to bring their A game. And when that happens the right way, it's, I call that's forming Voltron. It's like you got something that's more powerful than the pieces. You've got everything is, it's greater than just its parts. And that's when comics to me are at its best. Everybody's bringing their stuff together, and it's like no one person could have done that.
on that note, I think that is a beautiful way to end this off. So everybody, you can find John at Beyond Time Inc. on everything, I believe, correct?
Yep, everything except for the Facebook, which is Beyond Time Comics.
Okay. And go out and back this book. Back it.